We are live. Hello, hello, hello. We are live with the weekly Alter Ego Comics live sale. Welcome to everyone that will be filtering in here. Make sure to say hi once you arrive. Let us know that you're here. Hey, in stereo. I'm live in stereo.
Okay.
And I will take care of some housekeeping stuff while we wait for people to enter the room.
I'm not a professional. Hello, Marissa. And Sarah. It's like romper room.
Yeah, Angie's doing all the greetings tonight. I'm
Hi, Adam.
multitasking.
I'm going to go ahead and share this on the phone. If you want to share it to somebody, go for it.
Yeah, if you have friends or groups that you're part of where people would enjoy talking about comics and maybe getting to ask some questions of Josh Williamson tonight, who's in the on deck circle, share it, please. It's always helpful.
Hi, John and Holly, Mark, and Jonathan. Happy Superhero Day to you too.
Yeah, I don't know where Superhero Day came from, but yeah, apparently April 28th is National Superhero Day.
We're going to write it on the calendar for next year.
I know, and September 25th is National Comic Book Day, which the comic book industry had nothing to do with, and is also my birthday. So weird stuff.
Get ahead of the heroes for Pokemon. Happy Superhero Day. Hi, Chris and Ryan and Dan.
Almost ready here. See, when we're streaming to multiple platforms, I have to take care of a lot of housekeeping, like muting myself on YouTube.
Housekeeping.
I don't do housekeeping at home. Hey-oh.
Hi, Tony and Michael and Scott. Thanks for all the thumbs up.
Okay, I think all the housekeeping is taken care of here. Let's get back to business. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight on this new comic book day. It's another fantastic new comic book day. Lots of strong new releases that we will get to a little later on in the show. But before we get there, we want to welcome our special guest tonight, writer Joshua Williamson, who has written a ton of awesome stuff, including his creator-owned series Birthright and this week's Robin #1, as well as 23 other titles at DC Comics. And I'm sure he's got some other stuff going on too. So let's give a warm alter ego welcome to Josh Williamson.
Hello, hi, hello everyone.
He sounds thrilled, doesn't he? No, it's so hard to get excited via Zoom, right?
Yeah, but you know what? I do so many Zoom calls at this point, like making comics that we do now. It's like I'm always in the middle of some Zoom call. But you know, I'm always excited to just talk about comic books. I mean, you and I have talked before. You know, it's like I worked at a comic book store all through high school and college, and then I was a manager of a store before I went freelance. So I'm always down to talk about comic books.
Yeah, well, I appreciate this. This was on short notice. I sent you a quick message yesterday, and you were gracious enough to give us some time tonight. Primarily wanted to talk about your awesome new book, Robin, with your artist, who the book is not handy. Help me out, the artist on the book.
Gleb Melnikov.
Yes, he's Italian, right? No, I'm just kidding.
No, yeah, I was like, what? No, he's Russian. Actually, I messaged Gleb like years ago. Yeah, I messaged him years ago and was like, "Hey man, I love your stuff. We should figure something out. We should talk. We should work." And it took about 2 years, and then he started doing the gradual work at DC, and he did these pinups like 2-3 years ago of Robin, of not Damian, but of Dick, of like old, classic like Batman and Robin pinups years ago. And I've always been like, man, this guy should do a Batman book, or this guy should do a Robin book. And about a year ago, when we first started talking about this, I sent all those images to DC and was like, look at what this guy's done. He'd be perfect for it. But even then, I thought it was like a long shot because he hadn't done that much stuff for DC. But he has such a cool energy and such a cool style. And he started doing a little bit of work. And then one of the editors was like, let's try it. Let's see if we can get him. And it looks awesome. Yeah, he did the 0 issue, or the Preludes. And in my mind, they're the 0 issue. That's how I wrote them. But the Preludes that were in Batman and Detective, and they issue 1, and now we're off to the races, and he's killing it, man. It looks so good. He has such a cool, he has a very much a cliffhanger style, like a late 90s style that's like Ramos and Cello, and obviously Joe Matt is a huge influence in there, and Jim Lee. But a lot of those like Wildstorm cliffhanger guys, that's what he was influenced by, and I love those books and those styles, and so we put a lot of that into this book.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm glad that you refreshed my memory, and probably our viewers' memories too. That there was a prelude. There were short snippets that were in other books leading up to this Robin #1 that launched today. Why don't you give us the setup and the pitch for this new issue?
So what's going on is, Damian has had kind of the last couple of years been really hard on him with the stuff going with Batman, particularly with Teen Titans. I kind of wanted to get away from all of that and sort of send him back on a path to being a hero, right? And he's sort of divided upon what that even means to him at this point and what he wants to do with his life. And so in the Prelude issues, we had him go to Talia because he feels like things aren't working out with the Bat family. So basically, he runs away from Dad to go to Mom. Right, and go back to the demon side of his family. When he was with his mom, he learned about this thing called the League of Lazarus and the Lazarus Tournament, which essentially was this like deadly tournament for these fighters who are only invited. All the fighters are only invited to this island called Lazarus Island to do this fight. And so really what the book is, and what issue 1 is Damian going to a tournament, a kind of Mortal Kombat style tournament to win. But he also really wants to know why this tournament was kept secret from him, why the League of Lazarus, something his mom and his dad hid from him, and he wants to know why. And to him, it's more about like chasing this mystery, this case, than really winning the tournament. But there's also a part of him that's like, I could beat these people up. I want to try. I want to go join this tournament. And so for me, it was really about making like a fun action book that also has kind of a heart, along with being able to tell a really cool story with Damian Wayne, because I personally love Damian Wayne. And so I put all that stuff into this book, and that's really what it's about. It's really about this tournament in the DCU starring Robin.
Yeah, and I think that's a great summary of the first issue. And there's so much great dialogue in here. And as someone who is not the biggest Damian Wayne fan in the world, maybe he just rubbed me the wrong way in Grant Morrison's run, or the whole, early years of Damian in the DCU just didn't work for me. But the older he gets, and the more I read Damian paired up with John Kent, or now Damian kind of finding his way in the world, and you get to see that he really is a good kid. That's one of the reasons why I enjoyed this book so much, is you get to see that in a couple places, that he's not just this guy who thinks he's the best at everything. He's got a good heart.
Yeah, that was what important to me, was making sure that we gave him that heart again, and like I've always liked him as a character, but I did recognize a lot of other people did not. And he, is seen as kind of this like spoiled brat of the Bat family. But I always saw him as something different, and I think a lot of that spoiled bratness is bravado. It's a front, it's a show. But, Tomasi, particularly Tomasi's stuff, was able to find places for that heart. You look at things that were going on in Super Sons, and I wanted to bring more of that. And so with this book, I wanted to make it so that even, people could see what I like about him. I wanted to bring that out more. So someone like you, who might be like, or like Damian, might find a reason why I like them. You might see that too and start to like them as a character.
Yeah, excellent. And I stay away from spoilers, folks, on the internet, because this issue does end with a cliffhanger that we won't talk about. But don't dig too deep, and don't don't flip to the back if you're browsing the shop because you'll have some stuff spoiled for you. But it really sets up a heck of a cliffhanger for the next issue.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's pieces you'll kind of figure it out. Like on a couple of rereads, you might kind of figure out what's going on the island and what's happening and where the rest of the series is going to go. But yeah, we were surprised. We really didn't want that ending to leak, and it didn't. So we were really happy about that. Like a lot of times things leak a little in advance, and we were just like, please don't leak. Like just make it to Tuesday and Wednesday. Let's get to the week it comes out before people start to talk about it. And it happened. We got there, so it's. I don't know. I'm really excited about this book. It's something I've wanted to do for a really long time. Like I wrote an issue of Superman Batman almost 10 years ago that was starring Damian and Supergirl, and ever since then I've wanted to do this book. And so a year ago when it came around, like, well, do you want to do it? I was like, yeah, but only if I could do it like this. And they're like, oh, we want to do it like that. And I'm like, great, let's go. And we get to do this cool kind of like manga influenced Robin book. That's gonna be paced a little differently. It's like when I was doing Flash, the amount of information that I would put into a Flash issue, I'm now taking that information and spreading it in like 2 issues with this book. But I don't just sort of breathe, but then you get enough in every issue. You still get a complete story and kind of a little adventure in each one, but I'm able to let it breathe in a way that I wasn't doing on Flash.
Well, let's talk a little bit about some other stuff you have going on at DC. But actually, before I do that, let me say that Robin #1 has achieved the rare unanimous staff pick of the week here at Alter Ego, which doesn't happen too often, but all of us...
it doesn't happen because I don't usually read superhero comics.
Yeah, primarily because Angie doesn't read superhero
comics. I'm just kidding.
and I really loved it, so...
But yeah, the three of us that are here all the time, Alex, Angie, and myself, all made it our staff pick this week. So for our watchers, our customers... take that to the bank. Robin is outstanding.
Thank you. I really wanted to make a book that was fun. I think a lot of times we fall in these bad habits of having our books be too gritty and dark for no reason. And I wanted this to be fun. Don't get me wrong; it's super violent at times. Like the next issue has some super violent stuff in it, and it's a fight book, But I wanted to definitely make it something really fun, and I'm glad that people are enjoying it. And that's awesome to hear that you guys all liked it.
And what I was going to lead into with that, before we get to some of the other stuff you have going on at DC, because I know it's not really 23 books, it just seems like it. But DC, as a retailer, we were talking before we went live. There's some behind the scenes stuff going on with DC and the industry and retailers. But having said that, Future State and now Infinite Frontier has been so strong. Like every book that comes out, great writer, great artist, characters that maybe you're connecting with for the first time or reconnecting with. And I'm thinking of, Stephanie Phillips and Harley Quinn, Tom Taylor on Nightwing, Philip Kennedy Johnson doing his stuff with Superman. And there's even more than that. Mariko Tamaki on Detective, Jean Lun Yang on Batman Superman. It's like DC took the best of the best and said, here, do whatever you want. And I know that's not probably what happened, but the content coming out of DC is so strong right now. It makes me feel great as a retailer recommending these books to my customers.
That's awesome to hear. I mean, yeah, I think from a creator's perspective and working with editorial, our job is really just try to make the best product possible. And we are trying to make these books and allow people to have kind of room to breathe. And you can see that passion in the books. Right now, the editorial, I think it is in terms of editorial, it's like my favorite time at DC. Like I've been at DC, my first books that I did with them were almost 10 years ago, but I've been consistently with DC for 5 years now, right? Like I've been exclusive for 5 years. And right now is a time where I feel like I've had the most freedom and I've had the most fun working with editorial and working with other creators. Like the stuff we're building now and the stuff we're building for next year is really, really exciting. And man, sometimes art comes in that for things that have not been announced yet. There's a lot of books that have been announced that I get to have like a sneak peek at, and there's projects I get to look at and talk to the creators and editorial about. And some of the stuff that's coming for this year and next year is amazing. It will like really blow people away and how cool some of the projects are that are coming up. Like I think that right now the stuff that we're doing, like you said, like the creativity of Future State and some of the fun that we're having there. And then now the Infinite Frontier, the stuff that people are doing with all the creators you listed and some other stuff that's coming up. I think people are really going out there and they're trying to go for it and make just really fun, cool books. That, and my hope is that we can get those books in front of retailers and just find ways to help retailers sell them. Like that's something I think about daily, is how to really try to get that stuff in front of retailers, so help them sell those books.
Yeah, and stuff like this, helps. We were talking again before we went live. So again, I want to thank you for that. And as a former retailer yourself, I know that you can identify with the position that we're in of having, how many dozens of new releases every week. And, we can't push everything at everyone because not everyone has Bruce Wayne money, or used to have Bruce Wayne money or old Bruce Wayne money. But it makes it's so hard when so many books are excellent, and not just good. And these days, a book has to be excellent to really get behind it 100%.
No, for sure. I mean, I think that's right now. I mean, there's so many good books out there, not just from DC, obviously, but Image and Boom and Marvel and Vault. I feel like everyone right now is putting out some really, really great work. You have to be able to get out there. And, one of the things in my time at DC that I've learned is that sometimes you have to get noisy. Like you have to be able to get out there and make books that are noisier to get people talking, and getting to talk about what's actually happening in your books is such a key thing. And I think that's the thing about DC. That's my hope right now for DC, is that people are talking about what's actually happening in the books and the stories and the execution that you're talking about, of like trying to make them just great books. I think it's important that we try to push some of that stuff. But right now, I'm really happy. Like as a DC fan, like I read books every week they come out, and I don't know, I think it's a good time to be a DC fan. It's about getting that stuff more to the retailers is definitely important.
Yeah, and to our viewers and customers out there, if you haven't picked up a DC book, now's the time to check something out. I know a lot of you have. We've been very fortunate. We had Stephanie Phillips on several weeks ago.
Awesome.
We had who else did we have on? I don't really remember. Nobody else doing DC. We had Scott Snyder, but he's not doing anything at the moment. But yeah, and that was when Noctera came out. I got him the day that Noctera came out. It was like a dream come true.
Awesome. Yeah, I was hitting it really hard. He was out there really trying to push Noctera, and that book's awesome too. So I think he was just really trying to get out there. But Stephanie's great. We're doing all these for Infinite Frontier. I'm also working with a lot of other writers and talking about their books, and we're also doing a bunch of shorts. Like we're doing Infinite Frontier Secret Files, and I got to handpick those creators. And Stephanie was one of them. Brandon Thomas and Dan Waters. Brandon does Excellence, and Dan Waters does some books for Image, and has done, he worked on Lucifer before at DC, and it's like I really like he did Coffin Bound for Image, and it's like I wanted to bring in some new talent and new creators on this stuff, and yeah, it's cool, man. There's a lot of cool stuff coming. I promise you. There's some stuff. It's tough because we like things that I'm working on, like there's a bunch of stuff we haven't even announced yet that I'm working on. There are plans we have for later this year. There's stuff next year. Like I should be working starting in June. I'm gonna start working on a book that won't even come out until the summer of 2022. It's like we really are planning the stuff out and trying to put some cool stuff in it. It just means I never sleep. Like I'm always working on stuff, like all these books. At this point, we've only announced 3 of the 5, where it's like there's Robin, the Infinite Frontier mini. I'm doing the Future State Gotham book. There's 2 other books. One of the books I'm working on, actually, no, 2 of the books I'm working on, the first issues are completed, and we haven't even announced them yet, and they're not going to be announced for a while, right? So it's like, there's a lot of cool stuff, and then there's 2 other books that I'm working on that won't be out. 3 books that I'm working on that won't be out for a long time. It's going to be a long, long time, but we're really trying to do cool stuff. I don't know, I'm excited about all this stuff we're working on. It's
awesome. When you're passionate about what you do, it shows. That's why I do what I do. That's clearly why you do what you do. Now, I should say you might have some extra time since you're not going to cons anymore. Maybe at least not for the rest of the year. But let's go back and hit on the 2 books that you did mention that have been announced: the Infinite Frontier miniseries and Future State Gotham. What can you tell us about those?
Well, with Future State Gotham, I'll lead off with that. We're basically continuing the stories that were laid out in the Gotham parts of Future State. So it's like Dark Detective and Next Batman and Robin Eternal and the Harley Quinn book. I'm co-writing it with Dennis Culver. And we're just taking all of the pieces from all of those Future State books, and we're just going to continue it all, and we're going to integrate them together, right? So it's like the stories I was writing were the Jason Todd Red Hood stories. Well, I'm taking that. It's still the POV for the first 6 issues. And then we're just kind of exploring the rest of that version of Future State and bringing all those characters in and continuing that story. It's a lot of fun. We're doing something totally different with it because it's going to be a black and white book. You know, we're doing it much more as like a manga inspired book. And it's going to be interesting. I don't know. It's a different kind of mystery. It's sort of, I don't want to use the word Elseworld, but some of the stuff that we're exploring will impact other stuff down the line. But really, my priority was just telling a really cool Jason Todd story in the future. And then with Infinite Frontier is continuing the mysteries from the Infinite Frontier Zero one shot and continuing that cast. So it's like spoilers, people haven't read the one shot. But you know, Roy Harper is back from the dead. We explore why he's from back from the dead, how he's back from the dead. We explore some of the stuff with the totality, the new team that's supposed to monitor the multiverse. We got President Superman. We got things that are going on with the multiverse and Justice Incarnate. Barry Allen is going to go explore the multiverse. We get to touch on that. There's a lot going on in that book. It's definitely going to be exploring this mystery that is happening in the multiverse because of ramifications from Death Metal, ramifications from Doomsday Clock and Rebirth. Like, you know, reality in the DCU was completely messed with over the last 10 years. And even though everything is back and it's kind of in, you know, a lot of things have been restored, not everything's perfect. And I think there's a lot of characters in the DCU that are taking a look at that and they're saying, what actually happened here? And what are the ramifications? If you look at the end of Death Metal, Wonder Woman was warned that there was going to be a cost. And we're exploring what that cost is. And even in Infinite Frontier one shot, the Zero issue back in March, we started laying out some of these mysteries that were out there. And so we're just going to be picking up the pieces from that in this kind of like mini event that will then sort of lead to, it's going to lead to something even bigger that we have planned coming up. So these 6 issues set the table for something really big that we're going to be doing later. But it gets all these characters, all the pieces, and gets some of the stuff we want to do with some of the villains and the bigger story that we're going to be telling about the multiverse all into one spot. And that's really what those 6 issues are about. It reminds me a lot of like Countdown to Infinite Crisis, the build in there. So if you look at like Countdown to Infinite Crisis, look at something like OMAC Project, those are the best things I think you compare to with this book. But then I think the thing that I was most influenced by making the Infinite Frontier miniseries was something like 52, where you get to explore kind of all these ramifications of Infinite Crisis. We're getting to do that with this, of like, these are ramifications of Death Metal, these are ramifications of Infinite Frontier, and all of the stuff that was going on in the DCU. But you also get to see kind of the DCU from different perspectives we don't normally see it from. Whenever we see these stories, we see it from Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. That's the perspective we see it from, right? And so I wanted to try and show a more grounded point of view on kind of some of these events, but then also show just some different characters you don't normally see. But it's a lot of fun. I'm really proud of it. It's going to be a very different kind of book. You know, it's like when you look at something like Death Metal was this crazy rock show, right? Like Scott always described, it was this big rock show and loud and explosives, all this stuff. With this one, we wanted to do something that was a little bit quieter, and it's more of like a house show, you know? But definitely will have a huge impact on what's going on in the DCU. I mean, I can't understate it enough. I think people will be surprised as the series goes on, especially once we get to the ending and see like, oh crap, this is a huge deal, and it's going to massively impact the DCU, and it's going to kind of, I think it'll really surprise people what we do with these 6 issues, especially once you get to the ending and you see the first real big seeds of the big DC plan that's coming.
And both of those, both the Future State Gotham and the Infinite Frontier series, those ship in May?
So Future State Gotham ships in May. Infinite Frontier #1 ships the last week of June. Its FOC is actually May 30th, so it's the last week of May. So I think in the next month, you'll probably see a lot of me pushing that book and starting to show way more art, and you guys will probably get a copy of #1 to read. Like, we'll really be out there pushing the crap out of the book. But yeah, it comes out in June. Has Mitch Jards is doing covers, and it's awesome, dude. I'm really proud of this book. I think it'll be surprising to people because it's very different from most of the events we've done. But it definitely is like, if you were a fan of like JSA back in the like 2000s, it's tonally very much like that in terms of like a DCU book.
And that's something that's missing in the DC universe right now. So that's good to hear. I think that'll satisfy fans from that era, and especially fans of some of those characters that you don't see in the regular monthly DC books.
Yeah, and that plays a part of the story is that, there's a scene in issue 2 where Mr. Terrific and Vandal Savage and Alan Scott and Obsidian are talking about that. They're basically being like, who's not accounted for? Like, they're trying to have a database of every hero. Because, it's like there was a lot of crazy stuff going on where people were forgotten. Some people were erased. And so part of the new totality group that you saw at the end of Death Metal, part of their thing is like, how badly was time and space actually messed with? And are people missing still? And them realizing like, oh, there are people missing, but even then there are people who they thought had checked in who are now missing. And it's like, what is happening? What is actually going on? Where are those characters at? And that plays a part of the mystery in the story of what are those characters. And there's a couple things we haven't shown from it yet. Like there's actually one of the main characters of the book we haven't revealed yet. They're like crucial to the story, and they're kind of a bigger character, and we're just kind of waiting a little bit before we reveal them. I think we'll probably reveal who they are the week of the FOC. We'll probably start showing art to be like, oh, surprise, this character is involved, and it'll kind of clue you in on to how big the story's going to get.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to it. And for our viewers / customers, it's not too late to subscribe to Infinite Frontier or Future State Gotham. You can get both of those on your pull lists and be ready to roll with both of those. Now you're doing stuff. You've got your creator-owned stuff going on too. Congratulations on how many years of Birthright?
7. Yeah, it'll be 7. We're almost done. Issue 50 comes out in June. Andre is like halfway through done drawing it. He's already penciled the whole thing, so he's inking it now. And you're right there, man, right there at the ending. So it's definitely super weird. We're gonna have an epilogue, like a coda, is gonna be in one of the Skybound X books.
Awesome.
So there'll be an 8-page story in there. It'll be if someone has like followed my creator-owned work, it's kind of like a little bonus for you because it's more than just Birthright. There's other stuff involved without getting too much into spoilers. I think if someone saw the cover that's the Birthright one, you might piece it together with what I'm doing. But yeah, man, it's wild. I'm really excited about the ending. I'm really proud of it. It's the ending I wanted to do. I feel very blessed and lucky that I was able to tell a 50-issue fantasy story, which seems very rare to do. But it's like a rare thing. I don't know. I'm really excited about it, and I hope people will start picking up. Before we get to the end, it'll be nice to pick up the first trade and then read it all the way through. So it's definitely something I'm really proud of. It's probably the most personal work I've ever done. So I'm glad that people have liked it. Now we're here at the ending. I'm curious what people are going to think about the end.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm a little behind. I was on board from the beginning and then fell off for one reason or another. But it's been a book that we've really championed here at the shop.
Thank you.
And I think, a lot of our customers have checked it out. But if they haven't, we always stock at least the first volume, but usually several volumes. And, another one that I need to go back and revisit, and I think as more people, and maybe our customers and viewers that are watching tonight, but Ghosted was another one that,
Yeah. Well, remember I was saying that the Birthright Coda thing in the Skybound X?
Yeah, I figured it. I figured there'd be some characters from your other work.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the cover, it gives it away. I think if you're a fan of Ghost and you're a fan of Birthright and you see the cover, you're gonna be like, oh, I see what happened. Yeah, I loved working on Ghosted. I would like to revisit that world, or at least that type of book. I'm actually, Nailbiter is over as well.
I forgot about Nailbiter. Duh.
Yeah, we got 8 trades of Nailbiter now. Of the story we were telling there, but now I have a bunch of other creator-owned stuff I'm working on that probably won't come out till next year. Well, I know it won't come out till next year.
Well, it sounds like you're up to your eyeballs in work, which I guess is a good problem to have. But I look at some of the writers, I just don't understand. I mean, people like Charles Soule or Cullen Bunn or yourself, who you must just have like drawers or notebooks full of scripts and all kinds of stuff where there's just stories coming out of everywhere.
Yeah, I have a whiteboard here that is like broken up by projects, by company, and yeah, it's the creator-owned part is like crazy. Well, once I started working at DC 5 years ago, I was in the middle of Birthright and Nailbiter, and I kind of was like slowing down a little bit with creator-owned stuff on new projects. Like I had Nailbiter and Birthright, but coming up with new stuff, I kind of slowed down. This is like 2015, but then once I started working on Flash full time, I was like, all right, here's my focus. I want to focus on DC for a few years. Because I felt like the ideas I was coming up with at the time weren't as strong as Nailbiter and Birthright. But then, boom, dude, like the moment I kind of put it away in a box for a minute, it like exploded. Like within about a year, I had so many like notebooks full of ideas for create your own books I wanted to do, which is nice to get to take time to work on them. Because like Birthright, for example, was an idea I had in 2007, and issue 1 didn't come out until 2014. So it's like, is that right? 2014? Yeah, 2014. So, you know, I don't mind taking my time on some of these projects and really giving them room for me to kind of develop them. And that's what I've been doing the last few years. I've had all these create your own books, just like a stack of create your own books that I've like whittled down and try to figure out exactly what I want to do.
Well, I'm going to throw a couple comments up on the screen. We got one from Ryan here who talks about Nailbiter being one of the first 3 series he got back into reading comics, and thanks you for that, as well as Nailbiter Returns. And then we have a question from Emilio, wants to know, what's someone you've always wanted to work on that you've never got the chance? I assume he's talking about a character, not a living human being.
I would say at this point, because DC, I've gotten to write Justice League, and I wrote like No Justice and Flash. I've got to write like every character essentially that I wanted to write. There's a few here and there, but it's weird. Like the way I've kind of done things at DC, I've gotten to write nearly every character I wanted to write, except for like a few here and there. So with that, I mean, outside of create our own stuff, then you're talking about like Marvel, you know, and then it's like, yeah, I'd love to write Spider-Man. You know, it's like I'd love to write Wolverine. I'd like to write Ghost Rider, the Fantastic Four, The Thing, you know, Doctor Strange. There's all kinds of stuff over there I'd like to do. Iron Man. I have a whole Iron Man story I want to do. So it's like, you know, there's definitely that whole thing, that whole area that I will eventually get to. Or I'm going to try to. I'll eventually make it over there.
Wow. I mean, I hope we're talking about this, you know, a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we're back having these conversations about maybe you're Marvel exclusive at that point. I don't want to jinx anything, or, you know, who knows, but yes, it is always great to see fantastic writers take on, you know, these legacy characters, but also injecting the new characters as well. And I don't think any of us, I mean, I've been reading comics for almost 40 years. That's
You know, I mean, you know, I've been reading comics for a really long time. I've never lived in a house that didn't have a short box, because both my parents were comic book readers. So
nice.
For me, you know, it's like I've always been reading comics like my entire life. And yeah, like being on the outside, having a point of view of a fan, and then working in the comic book store, and I kind of always that person still. Like I'm always the 13-year-old kid who just loved comic books, and I'm still that person working in the stores. You know, I feel like I'm still, like when I'm thinking about these books and I think about pitching, I'm still that person at the counter. Like I you know, that mentality of having to be at the counter and talking to customers and trying to sell them books. Like I still have that embedded in my blood. So it's like even when I'm making these books, I'm still thinking of it from that perspective. Like, what would I do if I was standing at that counter trying to sell these books? Like, I still think about that to this day.
And I think that's why your stuff works. And, you know, there are so many former comic shop employees, you know, Donnie Cates, Matt Rosenberg, you. I mean, I could go down the list of current writers that have worked in comics or worked in comic shops. And, you know, honestly, those are the books that I love the most, and I think a lot of our customers do too. And those are the people that get out and promote their work the most. So,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and look at Crossover. You know, like Crossover 6 came out.
Oh yeah,
good, you know, and it's like I talk to those guys a lot. Like I talk to Donnie and Matt fairly frequently. I actually need to text Donnie. But you know, it's like I think all those guys, yeah, working in a comic book store, it gives you a different perspective on these things. Yeah, man, I've been reading comics for a long time too.
Well, and I guess where I was going with that is that I think, you know, comics are as good now or better now, I think, as a complete package than they have ever been. But the fact that there are writers and artists out there telling new stories with these characters that have been around for 80 years is just phenomenal. And it keeps us coming back for more. It's that combination, and for most of us, you know, diehard longtime readers, it's that combination of Marvel, DC, and creator owned. Like I love all comics. People are all the time like, oh, I'm only Marvel, I'm only DC, whatever. I love all comics. I love all good stories, and we're getting so much of that now that it's just really a golden age.
Yeah, I mean, you should see the stacks of books I have here in my office. I mean, it's like over here, like I have books from all kinds of publishers over here. Like I got TKO and Black Mask and Boom and Image, and I just reread all of Gideon Falls on Sunday, like all of it, in one sitting. Uh, I got all kinds of stuff over here. I got Little Bird over here from Image, like and I have a couple IEW books like Ghost Tree, and there's so much cool stuff coming out like all the time right now. It's hard to keep up. Like there's so many, like I have stacks of trades around my house right now, just trying to keep up with all the stuff that is really good. It's like I read the first issue of a lot of things, and you're like, man, that book is great, and I want to read it. And there's just a lot of cool stuff. Like, dude, like today I read Nice House on the Lake. It's James Tynion's new book. I think you'll get a PDF of it soon.
That's coming out. That's coming out from DC, right?
Yeah, its FOC is like a week and a half from now, and I think you'll get a copy next week. And I think it's James's best book. It's like, and there's just so much really cool stuff coming out all the time.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I want to be very respectful of your time. I know you got a lot going on. Be respectful of our viewers' time. Is there anything we didn't touch on that you'd like to?
I don't think so. I would feel like pre-order Infinite Frontier. I think that's the thing we could do.
I think perfectly fine.
Yeah,
shameless self-promotion.
Yeah.
Well, and if people want to keep up with what you got going on, what's the best place for them to do that, and what's your handle?
Yeah, Twitter is the best place to ever look for stuff. I usually only use that for promoting the books and putting stuff out. So it's Williamson_Josh is where you can find me on Twitter.
Well, hopefully everyone has that down. We got a lot to get through tonight here in the shop. You got a lot of work to do. Your dog needs to eat.
Yeah, I think she wants to go outside. She was like in the middle of this, came up to me and was like, "What's going on?" Normally she's asleep all day, but then she decided she wanted to get up. So I'll probably take her outside real quick.
Well, there you go. Well, Josh, I want to thank you again for number one, hanging out with us, for being so gracious with you. Everyone should pick up Robin, and hopefully we'll talk again sometime in the future.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll talk to you again later.
All right,
thanks everybody.
You have two Robins left.
Holy smokes. Man, I love doing this. I love my job. I just want to get that out there. I love my job. And I love all of you, you and you and you, for hanging out with us week in and week out, and for continuing to read comics and support creators and support shops like us here at Alter Ego. So my lovely assistant has told me that we're down to 2 copies of Robin. So if anyone hasn't requested it yet, now would be the time. And let us know if you'd like to subscribe. Of course, I understand maybe you want to check out that first issue before you commit to subscribing, but it's really, really good.
Yeah, several people did, and they can wait until they read it. And
oh, I think we just lost our 2 Robins there. I'm going to get our ticker up there for our new folks watching on YouTube or Facebook. If you are new to our weekly live sale, look for the Google form that's pinned in the comments on Facebook, and it's posted in the comments on YouTube, and fill out that form if you'd like to buy anything tonight. The way this,
write Tony's name over to the right, and you can see if you can get another one.
Okay. Yeah, we can make a list. The way this works is I will hold up something. I will talk about it. I will let you know the price. And then if you want it, post in the comments that you want it. Post the name of the item, please. Don't just post I want it, because I don't know what that is. But post the name of the item. And if we have it available, we will confirm with you by liking your comment in Facebook and by verbally confirming on YouTube. If there are any questions, shout them out anytime. I'll type them out.
Yeah.
Look at that. Everyone's so kind in this group. Ryan's going to give his up. Ryan has an LCS and us. He has like co-LCSs. I thought we were your LCS, but you don't live as close as some of these other folks do. Okay, let's get rolling. Another Bat book. We've got Batman Detective Comics number 1035. This is the second part of Mariko Tamaki and Dan Mora's run $5 for this one. And I do have a couple copies of 1034. So if you haven't gotten into this new run of Detective Comics, I believe this is a second printing. Or it's a variant cover. I think it's a variant cover to Detective 1034. This is $5. I have 2 copies. But then I also have Detective 1035 for $5. An excellent run. Again, 2 issues in, but really enjoying what Mariko Tamaki's doing here with Bruce Wayne's new status quo.
I think you just like saying his name.
That's a woman. But,
Okay, her name.
And Dan Mora's artwork is outstanding.
Okay, I need a 1034 variant.
Of course, Mora is the artist on Once and Future. So if you're a fan of that, you will like his art. Speaking of awesome art, we've got Ron Garney doing the art chores, but you're really reading this because it's Keanu Reeves writing. Keanu Reeves co-writing with Matt Kint. We've got Berserker #2. This is $4, #2 of 12. We still have copies of #1 if you need it. They're in the boxes, or the box over there.
Give it proper.
Just a handful of each. Berserker continues to be very strong. Both Angie and I enjoyed it. She admits it's not her cup of tea. It's ultra violent and not necessarily her jam, but she admits that
it's a very well written story.
It's a well-written story.
And I like the premise. I just don't like the violence.
Yes, there is a lot. I read it last night in issue #2, and there are a couple scenes in there that just ultra violent.
So definitely not for kids.
It is definitely not for kids. But I guess one of the reasons for this is if you ever want to see Keanu play Wolverine, this is probably your opportunity. We have several #2s this week that are solid. Several solid #2s.
Oh, you're so lame.
Destiny New York #2 is out this week. You may recall that Angie and I were both big fans of issue #1. This is starring a young woman who went to a Hogwarts type of school as a child, and where they reveal your destiny.
This stuff right in the very. Does a great job of summarizing what was in the last story right in the very front cover. Set in a version of New York City where magic is real and accepted part of life, Logan McBride struggles to find purpose. She was subject to an incredible prophecy where she was a child but fulfilled her foretold destiny when she was just 13. Now in her late 20s, she navigates through graduate school for prophecy kids while searching for her place in the world. That tells her she's already finished.
Yes. So Destiny New York, top notch. I think we had a couple people say they wanted or won. What?
Okay, I gotta go back to.
Yeah, Jess, not sure. Hello, all Facebook really doesn't want me to see this notification. Sorry, Jess. You know what? I'll send a message next time, Jess. I'll try.
It's the new
7
way he's
o'clock
setting it up.
every Wednesday. I don't think it's that. I don't think that's what it is.
It might
but
be.
that shouldn't have anything to do with notifications.
Destiny #2.
Right here.
Okay. Okay.
Glad to have you with us, Jess, along with everyone else. I know everyone else is glad to have you here. And Jason, you are back, and you are still on YouTube. But yeah, great to see you in the shop again, Jason, and looking forward to seeing you many, many more times. Another #2, another solid #2 is Harley Quinn.
Lord.
Harley Quinn #2 is out this week by Stephanie Phillips and Riley Rossmo.
That is what Scott did. He set a reoccurring alarm.
There we go. Wow, that is dedication. Thank you, Scott. $4 for Harley Quinn #2. This is Harley trying to make up for her villainous ways. She is kind of a part of the Bat family now, but she's got her own supporting cast, and everyone still kind of hates her. The citizens of Gotham anyway, because of her longtime association with Mr. J. Harley Quinn #2 continues to be awesome. And
You have some #1s.
I do have a handful of #1s. These are still
Well,
first printings. Yes.
Judge.
$4 for Harley Quinn #1 if you still need it. Who is that? Sorry, Dick, I don't have a Judge Dredd #1, but thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
All Harley.
And Dan, do you need number 1 and number 2, or just number 2? Next up is Helm Greycastle, issue number 1. This is from Image Comics. It is $5. It is a fantasy story. There takes place in kind of sort of reality, but many, many years ago. The Mayans are in here. But it's definitely for fans of D&D and fantasy RPG type stuff. It's called Helm Greycastle. It is $5.
The last I got a summary up there if you want to say what it really says.
Oh, why don't you want to read it?
It says it's the last dragon prince has been abducted and kept prisoner by an unknown threat.
That's where you get into the Aztec stuff. Helm Greycastle and his outsider comrades are here to save the prince, but are recruited by a resistance plot to overthrowing the Montezuma. I think there's like Montezuma 2.
I think there's Montezuma's Revenge in here.
Yes, you don't want to get near the Montezuma's Revenge. That's the worst thing you can have. Okay.
Oh, we're awesome.
Oh my. Now I have to go back to catch me up.
Yes. Nothing from Fleetway. I think maybe you were asking me about that. No, I don't know. Somebody was asking me about Fleetway on YouTube last week. We do not carry anything by them, unfortunately, but apparently they're doing something right because we got some people asking. Next up, we have The Marvels, issue number 1, written by Kurt Busiek, artwork by Yildiray Sinar, $5 for The Marvels number 1. This takes place during several different time periods. We start off in kind of Vietnam in the 1940s, late 1940s. We end up going through the 1970s, and we're in present day. This is an out-of-continuity chance for Kurt Busiek to play with whatever Marvel characters he wants to. And the ones that are featured on the cover are the ones that are featured in the story. We've got the Punisher, we've got Steve Rogers, Captain America, Spider-Man, the Human Torch, some other people, some new characters. The Marvels. It's basically Marvel letting Kurt Busiek, who wrote Marvels back in the 90s, do whatever he wants.
That happens sometimes, right?
Yeah, when you are a great writer and have an awesome history at a publisher, they let you do whatever you want. And he talks about it at the end of the book, too, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Our motto for this series is anyone, anywhere, anytime. He gets to play with all of Marvel history. Sounds good to me. Next up is, someone's going to have to help me with this. Is it RWBY or Ruby? RWBY Justice League, issue number 1, $4. I don't know what this is. I'm sorry. I know who the Justice League is. I guess RWBY is a manga that became an anime, perhaps.
Oh, if I'd only known today to ask the kids at school.
But this is a crossover with Justice League. Apparently it's Ruby. Brian has clued me in. Thank you, Brian. Now I don't have to sound like as much of an idiot.
That's what I would have said. But...
Ruby Justice League. That's right. Jess picked up the first trade. We've got some other folks, and that was just Ruby, but this is Ruby and Justice League.
So Adam, I think, wants it because he put the spelling on there.
Yeah, Adam, did you want the comic, or are you telling me how to say it? I don't know. I guess you want it.
People say it both ways, according to Jess. The first trade is great. Do you do graphic novels Batman versus Grendel?
We are striking out. We do not, Dick. Unfortunately. Keep trying, though. One of these days we'll connect. Next up is Shadecraft, issue number 2 by Joe Henderson, artwork by Lee Garbett. Fantastic series. 2 issues sold out of issue number 1. I know many of you picked it up when it came out. But now come back for number 2 if it's not already on your pull list. This is $4 for Shadecraft number 2, about a teenage girl who sees shadows kind of coming after her, coming to life, and her comatose brother may be one of them. I don't know. I don't want to give too much away. You liked it, right?
I did.
Yep, I liked it too. And I like it too.
Kelly, do you want Harley number 2 as well?
We'll see what Kelly says about that.
Can you hand me another Shadecraft?
I can. I do not have number 1, Jess. I don't think. I will have to go digging. I would also read Shade Raft. That sounds like a good series too. She just typed in Shade Raft. Kelly does want Harley Quinn number 2.
Okay.
But Jess, I'll see what I can do, and I will try to get you a second printing if I don't have
Do
any
you want me to
copies
go back there, or you just need to read it down?
lying about. Star Wars fans, we have the Empire Strikes Back 40th anniversary covers by Chris Sprouse. This is $6 and features a bunch of Chris Sprouse variant covers collected in this comic. Sprouse has been doing killer variants on the Star Wars books, but we're celebrating the 40th anniversary of The Empire Strikes Back, and you can get this comic that collects all those covers for $6.
Holy moly. I'm going to need a minute to go back through because there was a bunch of comments. But I need some Empire Strikes Back.
And I only have 3.
Well, we sold 2 of them so far.
I may try and get more. I think we are sold out, sold out of Empire at this point. But if you still want it, let me know, and I will do my best to order a copy in for you.
I have to go up above that because there was a whole bunch of comments that came in at the same time.
Okay.
And I'm just not that fast. Okay. So Jonathan, I'm going to write that down. I didn't actually put one in your file.
No Ghost Rider in stock right now, Dick. Sorry about that. And let me just talk for a minute, and I've talked about this before. Apparently there's a paper shortage going on in the world, and not the toilet kind, but I've talked about us not being able to restock manga very easily, and lots of publishers, including Marvel and DC, are having difficulty keeping graphic novels in stock. And I just saw yesterday that one of the comic publishers talked about a paper shortage, plus the issues of COVID impacting how many people are working in factories and warehouses. Plus, 2 days ago, there was a ship filled with shipping containers that all the containers toppled into the ocean. So there's just like the perfect storm of not being able to get stuff that people want.
Plus, more people are reading.
More people are reading, and more people are shopping online, which is overburdening the e-commerce system and the normal production cycle of things.
But keep shopping online here.
You can keep shopping with us. That's fine. Online, in person,
Adam
both.
Skinner wanted to know any Daredevil. I don't know if you saw that.
That
comment.
was Dick. Yes, I got that one. Oh, no, I didn't. I'm sorry. I missed.
Any Daredevil. That was a different question.
I missed wherever that is. Where is that?
It's
There we
below
go.
Jess.
Adam, you're jumping the gun a little bit here, but I'll skip ahead for a minute. A book that we've been sold out of for many months is now back in stock, and that's Daredevil Volume 1 by Chip Zdarsky and Marco Cicchetto. This is fantastic. This is in my top 3, probably my favorite Marvel comic being published right now. It is excellent. This is $16 for Daredevil Volume 1. If you would like it, if anybody needs it, let me know. But this has been out of stock for months and is finally back in. We just got it back in yesterday, and we've already sold one. So there's another one. Jason wants one. Awesome. I do have a couple copies left if anyone else needs a Daredevil Volume 1.
Jason Miller.
Jason Mills.
Mills. Okay. I just knew I didn't have a pull.
But you will not be disappointed. Okay, I think we're out now. Dick wants one, and Tamara wants one. Reader issues. Sorry, Adam. We do have some back issues here in our shop, but I'm not going to be able to get to those tonight. So maybe in a future show. We do this every Wednesday at 7 o'clock Eastern time. I saw some lying around. Nope.
Well, I think I picked up those.
Do you need me to go get some?
No, I'll use the other ones. And I have a stack for each of these.
Okay. Hey, Damien, thanks for joining us tonight. I don't know if we have any Superman King of the World back issues. Oh, it's a single back issue from the late 90s. Yeah, don't know off the top of my head. I'm not going to be getting to back issues tonight. We're just doing new releases and some graphic novels and some Funko Pops. But you can always shoot me an email. It's Mark, M-A-R-C, at alteregocomics.com, and I can check for you.
Mark at alteregocomics.com.
Yes. Next up, new release-wise, is Summoner's War Legacy, issue number 1. This was
Based on a mobile game.
Angie's pick of the week.
Yeah.
Well, first off, it was Robin, but
Okay.
because I picked Robin and Alex picked Robin, she picked this one too.
Yes.
Summoner's War Legacy. Tell us about this. Tell them what they've won.
It was based on a popular game. It just really had a great, they really built a universe in the story. And that's what I kind of liked about it. Like this main character is a summoner. So there's magic, there's monsters, there's people who protect the summoners. And, they don't do what they're supposed to. The girl summoner, you got a picture of her. They're like taking anybody for this job. So she doesn't always do what she's supposed to. And I kind of like that. So it's based on a mobile
game, I guess. Summoner's War Legacy. It's from Image. It is $4 for issue number 1. It is written by Justin Jordan, artwork by Luca Claretti. Yeah, I don't know where the Robin question came from. Jess, we are actually sold out of the new Robin number 1. That was our guest earlier was Joshua Williamson, writer of Robin and Birthright and Nailbiter and Infinite Frontier and Future State Gotham and all kinds of stuff.
I did put down for Mark to order some, so I'll write your name below them.
Yeah, Jess, Angie will add you to our waiting list for Robin if I can get some more copies or if they do the inevitable second printing because it is really, really good. Speaking of really, really good, we've got Action Comics number 1030. This is the beginning of writer Philip Kennedy Johnson's War World storyline. If you were with us for our interview with him a few weeks ago, this is what he was talking about. Philip Kennedy Johnson's going to be doing some major world building and outer space adventures with the Man of Steel, and it all starts right here. $5 for Action Comics number 1030. And I really dug it. The artwork in here, too, by
It is very good.
Daniel Sampier is fantastic. Good. If you want to jump into a Superman book, this is the one to do it with. This is the one to do it with.
Okay.
And sounds like Philip Kennedy Johnson has a whole bunch of cool stuff up his sleeve for Superman.
Tony is giving Jess his, and the one. That's Harley Quinn.
Robin, right?
Tony, I already had you on the waiting list for.
Yeah.
No, Tony had one because somebody else gifted him that.
That's
one.
right. Ryan gave Tony his Robin, and now Tony's
But
giving
doing
his
that-
Robin to Jess.
You guys are trying to make me be so confused.
Carry the 3. I feel like
Okay.
that Winona Ryder meme where she's just like,
Yeah, I'm sitting there doing the math. Like when you don't want to do math, like you've been drinking, and I haven't been drinking. There's been no drinking here. Okay.
I need another 1, 2, 3, 4 actions if
We
you
only
have.
have 2.
Okay, so Jonathan and Dan Parker get the action.
I'll try and get more action for everybody.
Jonathan.
I need a haircut too. Sorry, I'm distracted. I'm actually getting a haircut tomorrow, but my hair is out of control. Teen Titans Academy issue number 2 is out this week. $4 for this one. First issue was excellent, and we still have 4 copies of issue number 1. These are first printings of Teen Titans Academy, issue number 1 for $4. So we have Teen Titans Academy 1 and 2. Specify which ones you need, please.
You need a Titans for Scott.
I don't know whether it's 1 or 2. I'm guessing it was 2, but
I'm guessing it's 2 because I think he ordered.
picked up the
Yeah.
first one.
Titans 1 and 2.
Titans 1/2.
I'm reading it right.
It's like a Wizard magazine special edition. Titans 1/2.
Oops. There we go. 1 and 2.
Gotcha.
This is a good read as well.
I'm telling you, DC is killing it. I don't know where they're recruiting people or what they're telling them to do, but pretty much every DC book
So now I'm out of Post-its.
that launched after Future State has been top notch.
I'm going to have to get some
Here,
new labels.
choose the big ones. Dan doesn't know if he has number 1, but would take a 1 and 2. So.
Okay. My brother.
Your brother.
My brother.
New this week, X-Men Legends number 3. This is the first part of, I believe, a 2-part story. If you didn't pick up 1 and 2, it doesn't matter because X-Men Legends is an anthology series. But this is a story featuring X Factor, written by original X Factor writer Louise Simonson, artwork by her husband, Walt Simonson. They were a team back on X Factor in the 80s, and now they are a team again telling this 2-part story involving the X Factor team shortly after Inferno. This is $4 for X-Men Legends number 3. Hopefully that made sense.
I'm messing up your alphabetical order, but it's going to save me, so put it down low.
You know what, Tony? I would be willing to bet we see a death metal animated movie somewhere down the road. Did you get the detective for Jason?
I don't see Jason's
Oh, that's right.
comments,
It's a YouTube
so-
comment. Yep, Jason, we got you covered. Sorry, Angie doesn't see your comments because you're on YouTube, but that's okay. I see them. Well, Tolga, thank you so much. You started watching our videos 6 years ago. Wish you lived in the U.S. We wish you did. Well, we hope you're happy wherever you are. And you watch the video. You're just here to hear the comments. That means a lot. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And if you're ever in, Ohio,
Yeah, if
come
you're
and
ever
see
in the
us.
States, make a special trip to Lima, Ohio, the Mecca of the Midwest. We love it, though. The last single issue I have is actually a variant for Spawn number 317. This is a sketch variant for $10. If anyone is interested in that, Spawn 317 sketch variant for $10. I have 2 copies. Here's one. And my email's loud.
I got another one.
All right. We are out of Spawn. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Since we talked with Joshua Williamson tonight, I decided to take this down off the top shelf and offer it up. This is Birthright number 1, signed by writer Josh Williamson and artist Andre Bresson in 9.8 condition for $60. Graded by CBCS, verified signatures, because Angie and I were both there. This is when we saw both these guys at New York Comic Con
Okay, wow.
in 2014. So this was the year that Birthright came out. We've got a Birthright #1, CBCS graded 9.8, verified signatures by both.
Did you get that or did I get it?
I got it signed. No, I got it signed. You may have
Okay.
gotten the tickets to get in the line.
I got the tickets for every line because I am awesome.
But figured I'd throw that out there if anyone's interested. $60 for this graded 9.8, signed by both writer Josh Williamson and artist Andre Bresson.
Where would the #1 be of that, like in the trades, if we have it?
It's in the sci-fi fantasy section.
Because I didn't see it over there.
Might be out of it right now.
I just didn't even see a space for it. But I could have
We
been
did
looking
some
in that.
rearranging, so.
I know.
Okay, let's get to this week's new graphic novels. Not a graphic novel, but
A really big.
you can have a small child sit on this at a kitchen table instead of a booster seat. This is The Toys of He-Man and Masters of the Universe. This is a monster volume from Dark Horse Comics. $60, and it is full of toy product photos
Oh wow.
for all kinds of He-Man stuff. I don't want to mess with the spine too much here, but this will give you a glimpse of what's inside. Kind of a listing of every He-Man character. I didn't know who's Rhinorb. There's some
Oh,
characters
you know.
in here I've never
Rhinorb.
heard of before.
No, I don't even
Rhinorb.
think I've seen that toy. The guy with the long neck, though, I think my brother's had.
Yeah, Ratlore. It's got the card art. It's got all kinds of awesome stuff. This is a must-have for any He-Man fan. $60 for this giant, The Toys of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
Gosh, I don't even know when I have to pick it up. It's too heavy.
You're gonna hurt yourself.
Yep.
Jason Mills walks away with our He-Man. Thank you, Jason. Your brother bought one today. So now you both have one. It is so cool. For those of us that I know Jason and I are about the same age,
The powers of Grayskull.
it's really cool to see those.
You don't like my singing?
You weren't singing, you were just talking.
Okay.
We have an all ages new release today. You read this, right? The Dragon Path.
Yeah, I did.
You read an advanced copy of it.
A month
This
and a half
is
ago?
published by Scholastic. It is $13. Who will survive the Dragon Path? Prince Sing, heir to the Wong clan, is eager for adventure. On a journey to seek a better life in the old land, the Wong clan must travel through the treacherous Dragon Path ruled by the Dragon tribe. In a fierce battle, Prince Sing is separated from his family. Now it's up to the young prince to save his clan from their sworn enemies and a wicked traitor hiding in plain sight. $13 for the Dragon Path.
And it's a complete story.
I have one. Oh, okay. So maybe you don't need it. Dragon Path is gone. Jason doesn't need He-Man.
Okay.
Or I don't know. Jason, does that mean you don't want He-Man because you were going to get it as a birthday gift for your brother who already bought one?
That's fine. I can move it.
No cheap trades tonight, Adam, but stick with us in the weeks ahead. We'll have some. I've already got a box.
We do half off trades.
Half off trades, yes. We don't say cheap here. Another new release is the collected edition of The Vein from Oni. We talked about this in single issues when it came out. This is about a group of vampires, kind of good vampires that rob blood banks in the 1920s. This is $20. Sorry, 1940s. Chicago, 1941.
I think, did I read a single issue?
You
of
read the
that?
first issue. Yeah,
Yeah,
the single
yeah.
issue. It was good.
It was a good story.
Okay, Jason still wants He-Man. Okay,
Okay.
now you can keep it for yourself. In a world where we've seen just about everything vampires can do, The Vein gives us something new and refreshing. It's got scares, action, drama, romance, and heart. $20 for The Vein, Volume 1.
That was another interesting twist on a, vampire story.
Oh, man.
What?
Something on my desk I need.
Okay. The desk, in the other room.
Yes, the other office. There's a
Okay.
sign plate for this.
Okay.
Also new this week, Deceased, Dead Planet, the hardcover edition, the sequel to Deceased. This is written by done by the same creative team. Tom Taylor with the words, Trevor Hairsine with the artwork. This takes place 5 years after the original Deceased storyline. Hardcover collects 7 issues, $30 for Deceased, Dead Planet. We've got a new Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips book out. This is the second book in the Reckless series, Friend of the Devil. I have not had a chance to read my copy yet. It is sitting at home waiting for me. This is $25. Original hardcover. It's about 140 pages, starring a former FBI agent who's now a private investigator in the 1980s in Los Angeles. Crime noir. It's what Brubaker and Phillips do best. Highly recommend both the previous volume, Reckless, and Friend of the Devil.
Oh, they all waited to.
Yeah, no one said anything while you were gone.
No.
There's a stack.
Yeah, they only sent one copy, though.
Okay.
Okay, I have another special item here. We have the Black Ghost Hard Revolution softcover. This is $20. Collects the 5-issue miniseries by Alex Segura and Monica Gallagher. And I have a signed bookplate by both the writer and the artist that goes with the Black Ghost. We were supposed to get a handful of the trades. We only got one, but I do have a signed bookplate that'll go with this. Meet Lara Dominguez, a troubled... Someone already bought it. Okay. I won't read it then.
I'm going to slide it inside.
Yep. That's...
Don't say that.
I didn't say anything.
You were thinking stuff.
Hellblazer, Rise and Fall, the 3-issue miniseries from DC Black Label. This is an oversized hardcover written by Tom Taylor, artwork by Derek Robertson, who did the art on The Boys. This is $25 for Hellblazer, Rise and Fall. Great Hellblazer story, even if you're not familiar with the character. Great kind of intro to him. And it's a supernatural mystery. There you go. Hellblazer, Rise and Fall, oversized hardcover, $25.
That's going to be fun to put on the shelf somewhere.
And last but not least, new release-wise, Star Wars, The Fiction Collection. This is $25. It's a hardcover and collects some fiction stories by Timothy Zahn, Christy Golden, Matthew Stover, John Ostrander, and Jason Fry, with art by the Hildebrandt brothers, Jan Duursema, John Van Fleet, and Brian Rood. Special edition includes stories from the Legends era and tales from the current era of storytelling that were first published in the Star Wars Insider magazine. So this is from the same company that does Star Wars Insider. $25 for Star Wars The Fiction Collection. And it's basically short stories that were in the Star Wars Insider magazine.
Do you sell top loaders?
We do not sell top loaders. Sorry, Adam. And Adam, I don't think you have this in your pull file, but we're checking.
In the third drawer?
Yeah.
That's fine. Are you in the third drawer, Adam? There is a book in there. It is. It's in. Oh.
Actually, Adam, yes, you did order it. So we have a copy in your pull file. So I do still have the one copy of Star Wars Insider, The Fiction Collection. And then back to another one of those trades that's been out of stock for a long time that's finally back in is Darth Vader Volume 1 by Kieran Gillen and Salvador Laraca. This is the series that takes place immediately after A New Hope. This was the one that was parallel to Jason Aaron's Star Wars run. Kieran Gillen was writing Darth Vader. This series is worthy of Darth Vader's greatness, says Comic Vine. $20 for Volume 1. It's been out of print or unavailable for many months. Now back in stock. Great Darth Vader stories taking place after A New Hope. Last but not least, as far as our new releases, as far as the show, this is the last part of the show. Don't make your way towards the exits yet. Some new pops. We've got the new costume for Barry Allen Flash from the CW TV series. $12 for the Flash. Maybe I'll try kind of get a better look there. $12 for the Flash. Yes?
Tony wanted one of each of these. And
I think he's got a stack somewhere.
but nobody has names on them. Okay.
I do have 5 or 6 of the Flash Pops, so if anybody else wants one, chime in.
I just didn't want to pull more if we already have them pulled.
Does not have them, but those aren't available. The only thing I have is a couple other ones.
Okay. Well, he messaged at the very beginning that he wanted the Mega and King. And
Okay, I do have those. From Godzilla versus Kong, we have Mechagodzilla for $12.
I just don't know which one he wanted. I think it's those.
That's a really fast turnaround on this one. We just opened up pre-orders like the day after the movie came out.
So Tony, you said you wanted the Mecha and the Godzilla. Is that correct? The regular size. Did you also want regular, or you just want this one that he just showed? He wants Mecha and Kong. Do you
There's a
have
Mecha.
Kongs?
I do.
Do you have Kong?
Here's a Kong.
Okay.
So I'm putting this down below for Tony. So I have some.
So you had 2 mechas, 3 mechas. So we're out of Mechagodzilla, and I think I got everybody covered.
So Scott, Tamara,
And Tony. Then I have the giant size 10-inch Kong for $39. Supersize your Kong. $39 for supersize Kong. I have one left.
So
We're still waiting
I
on
just
our.
need to know, Tony, is that the Kong you want?
I think so.
Because it says regular somewhere. And if we have a regular Godzilla pop shirt.
We do not at this time, but they should be shipping soon. And Dick, if you could fill out that Google form for us that is pinned in the comments, just so we have your contact information.
And I just have the one marked a Daredevil.
Yeah, and I think we just have the Daredevil graphic novel set aside for you, Dick. If we're missing anything else, let us know. We're open 10 to 4 on Saturday. I have one other thing. I should gotta check. Well, I have more than one other thing. I just realized we got in some new gallery statues that you guys have never seen before. So I want to show those to you just in case anyone needs some gallery statues.
Do you need me to get it from the case? Is it this one here?
The top 2 shelves there.
Yeah.
Plus, we just got in this beautiful Dr. Doom mini bust by Diamond Select Toys. This is $70. I don't know why I'm crooked. There we go. Dr. Doom mini bust is $70. It's limited to 3,000 pieces. I have one for $70. They don't do a lot of cool Doom stuff, which is one of the reasons why we brought this into the shop. But it is super cool for any Fantastic Four or Dr. Doom fans. If anyone needs Doc Doom, $70 on Dr. Doom. As far as the gallery statues, we have the Killing Joke Joker gallery statue for $50. Based on Brian Boland's artwork from The Killing Joke.
Okay.
We've had this one in before, but it's been a little while. Suicide Squad Harley Quinn gallery statue for $50. Very cool. Nice companion piece to the Joker. And we've had this in before too, but it's been a while. The Zack Snyder Justice League Batman gallery statue, $50. He's got his batarang in his hand, leaping over the burning pipes. Batfleck, $50. Just one other one.
Jess would like the Harley Quinn.
Okay, I have one boxed up.
Okay.
And it's been a while. Again, we have had this one in before, but we were just able to restock it. Catwoman gallery statue, $50. Like that she's on the classic Egyptian style cat. I think Dick was just saying how it was cool.
Yes. Well, if he's coming down to get his books, he can get them.
I do have a couple of each on these, so I think Jess wants a Catwoman. I still have one more left.
Does she want to see the other one?
No, I already talked to her about that.
Okay. So we need Catwoman as well for that.
Yep, Catwoman and Harley. Excellent.
Okay. Any last call?
Yeah, last call.
We're closing the bar down.
It's time for us to go home and interact with our 11-year-old.
No, it's really making for bed.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
Micah.
Joker statue, Micah?
That's all we had out. That was Joker today.
I know. I just want to make sure. This one? Chris is kicking us out of here. He's like, go home. Have a good night.
The Doc Doom Plus for Bruce Todd.
Hey, Bruce, thank you for that. Make sure you fill out the Google form that's pinned in the comments so that I can follow up with you tomorrow about payment and whether we're shipping or you're picking up in the shop. Got you covered, Micah. Thank you. Thank you, Mark and Jess and Chris and Sarah and everybody for being here tonight. It was a fantastic interview with Josh Williamson. Fantastic show with all of you. We'll be back here next week, 7 o'clock Eastern for Alter Ego Comics
Okay, Adam,
live sale.
I'm going to write that down for Mark, and he'll see if he can order that for you.
She won a Vampire Diaries. Yep, Angie's making a note of that, Adam. I will look into it and see what I can do. It's been a while on that, so that may be
Like, is that
out of our
is he
control.
talking trades or single issues?
Either one. I'll check. Thanks, Holly. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, everybody. We will see you all next week. Stay safe. Be well. Take care.